and welcome to another Crafting Together with Our Brands video blog. This one is for Bubbles and Fizz. Mine's slightly different from what you would imagine. So I've sped everything up for you. We're going to use the Sarah from Clever Prints using the VersaFine ink, and we're just going to stamp that up. Just using it on I think it's 120 GSM paper. Just gently press, and I'm going to emboss this with clear embossing powder because I'm going to use alcohol inks on there. So I just want to make sure that it's nice and crisp and clean. Always remember to put it back in the bottle when you're finished. Just heating it up now with my mega heat gun. It could actually strip paint, probably what it's meant for, but it was when I got it I was told that it was a super duper craft gun. So there you go. I'm using the Colorista pens from Spectrum Noir. I'm going to start off with the skin tone. It's vanilla. I think that's which one it is. So I like to do it like as if I'm painting a room. Do your cutting in first. So do all around the edges first. And the good thing about these pens is if you want to add any dimension onto it, you would just add on an additional layer of the same colour. So the colour builds. It does have a brush end, which is really handy. Kind of looks a bit grey there, but it does lighten up a bit. I'm going to give it some brown eyes and a nice pink lip. So I'm just using a selection of colours for the bubbles in her hair, or her bubble hair, whichever you prefer. This stamp, you can use it for loads of different things. I think the last time I used this one, I did multiple stamping over with the bubbles. So you got like mega head full of bubbles. So again, just adding different colours, trying not to keep the same colours too close together, making sure that there's a nice general gap there for them. I'm going in there with an emerald green. It is a beautiful green colour. I was just doing it randomly. There's no set way of doing it. I think that one is called the sky blue, I think. And this one is more of a darker yellow, this. I think one of the good things about this is using the alcohol inks. You can very easily colour it in beautifully as a flat colour, or if you wanted to, you could add more dimension into it by doing, as I said, by using the same colours, just going over the same pieces. So this one here it's Pretty in Pink, I think it's called, or Pretty Pink. It's like more like a bubblegum sort of colour. But I decided that I would speed everything up, because the last thing you want to watch is literally watching pen dry. And everyone's seen me colour before, so I don't have to rush around just to try and see it. Oh, there's a lighter green. I think it was called Leaf. One was the red. And that yellow there, it's really pale. So once this is done, it does need to be fussy cut. Now there are some gaps in between the bubbles, so I just use that mocha sort of colour to go on there. It kind of blends in with the rest of the colours, so it's not a in your face kind of stand out, take away from the rest of the bubbles. It is more of a relaxed sort of shade, shall we say. And again, it's relatively easy to fussy cut out as well. So that's all of those areas coloured in. So I'm just going to add a little bit that I missed. So I'm going to fussy cut that out. Now I absolutely hate fussy cutting. So it's never perfect. When I go to put a halo around it, I always miss. When I try not to put a halo, there's always white around it. So, you know, but it's not part of the craft process that I actually enjoy. And I get that people say that when they're fussy cutting, they just relax or they can do it while they're watching TV. Oh my god, I have to really concentrate on it. Either they have to end up with a head or something. But even when it's sped up, I'm still slow at it. When you see some people and they like whiz right through it. But again, when you're fussy cutting or cutting anything out, move the paper, not the scissors. So once that's done, we'll move on. Like I said about the bubbles and fizz, which is the theme for this time. I did think about doing it and, you know, kind of going with what I thought everybody else would want to see or will be seeing. Do you know what? No, I'm going to do it slightly different. So one of the techniques that I'm going to use in a minute, it's actually using blowing bubbles. You'll see what I mean in a second. Quite a fun way of doing things, but there is a little explaining to be done, so hold on to your hats. So she's now done. And let's go around the edges with some VersaFine Black Onyx. And I did another two earlier on. I didn't think you'd want to see me do those, so I thought I'll be prepared and I'll get those done beforehand. And again, I'm just going to go around those with Black Onyx. Just makes it stand out a little bit more when there's no white edges. So here I'm just going to use a 2B pencil and I'm just going to put a little bit of shade on there and I'm going to blend it with my finger. I know that, you know, you can use a tortillon and whatnot, but I did a graphite pencil course recently and it was one of the things that they actually suggested that you try instead of using the other things. Because you don't have to run around looking for it, it's always there and it works really well. Now the reason why I'm using a pencil on it and not going over with the other colours is basically the time it would take to do the additions, because you'd have to put a layer down, let it dry, put a layer down, let it dry. So I decided that it was better to do it with the pencil. So here I have a glue pen and it's decided not to work. I was going around some of them on the opposite edge and I've got a silver AB glitter. Just do that to all three of them, just to give it a little bit of a fizz. And I thought, oh, it'll be easier to dip it in there than it will be to pour it all over the place, and it really was. If I had a bigger pot, I'd have poured it into a bigger pot and done it that way. But you know. So let's get that back in the pot so I don't spill it everywhere. So here we have a plastic cup with a little bit of the water in it. I'm using an acrylic ink. I'm going to use red, yellow and blue. I'm going to add that acrylic ink into the water. Now the brown bit at the bottom of the thing is hand wash. I'm going to use a paper straw. This paper that I'm using in this book, it is mixed media paper. But I do have an issue with it in a second that you'll see in a minute. So I'm just pouring the bubbles onto the page to give it that sort of tortoise finish. Now, the problem with this, because it's mixed media card, it was soaking into the paper, but obviously it still keeps its structure. So as you can see there, it is pooling around the edge, and now it's starting to run off the page. So I thought, right, well, I'll quickly mix up the other colours as well. So it's a couple of pumps of hand wash, some acrylic ink and a bit of water. A blue is a beautiful blue. As you can see, it's just kind of popping around everywhere. So let's move on to the other colours. I use a paper straw for the blowing the bubbles. So you can see there the paper is quite wet. I'm going to pause it in a minute. Let's see why. Because of the way that it was working, I thought, right, well, let me take the page out of the book, which might be better. Unfortunately, it ripped as I was using it, so I've had to redo this on another piece of paper, which is a 200 GSM piece of card. So that's exactly the same technique with the bubbles. The only difference is because I took the paper out, I could put the bubbles in, blow the bubbles in the cup, and then just touch them with the paper above. And again, with these, just some additional stencils just to give it a bit more substance, because I loved the background the way it was, but it needed something else. So I'm going to use some stencils. I tried that one because I thought it kind of looks like bubbles, but it was too structured. So that one's like a grungy bubbly, but they're not actual circles, full circles. So on there we've used the red, the glamorous, and the green. I think it's evergreen. And that's just using some bubble wrap. So we've got our 3 heads. I'm going to put some dots in the eyes using a white gel pen. It will work over the top of the embossing as well, so don't worry about that. I just thought, let's add a little bit more of the accents into the bubbles using the gel pen, using it on the ones that I didn't put glitter on. So again, just pick something random, and also a little bit of white on the bottom lip, just to show a highlight. So you can see that it does give dimension to some more of them. I'm going to use the Collal glue, first of all, solvent glue, on the 2 back heads, and then I'm going to use the pin flare gel glue to allow for dimension. So they go side by side, and then she goes in the front with her gel glue. Now I'm just kind of moving around the paper there just to give it a bit more flexibility so it will actually stay in its position. And you just kind of set that down and just give it a little tap, 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 and it's on. The sentiment that I'm going to use is from Dilutions range that I've just recently remembered that I had, called Bigger Back Chat. And some of them are a little bit close to the knuckle, but you know, we're all grown-ups. The one I use on here is not even slightly salty. And I'm going to back that onto some black card, just to make it stand out a bit more. I didn't want to put white on a kind of lighter background, so that's why I wanted to do it onto the black card. I'm just going to cut those by hand. It says you don't have to be crazy to be my friend. Where is it? Where's the other one? Come on, faffing. You don't have to be crazy to be my friend. I'll train you. Which is so true. I can train anyone to be my friend and to be crazy. So I'm just going to give that paper a bit of a stretch to kind of flatten it out a bit rather than it sticking up in the sides. And again, I'm going to use the Collal glue just to stick that down. Very easy to just kind of put them in place. And there we have it. So this is my interpretation of Bubble and Fizz with our 3 divas. You don't have to be crazy to be my friend. I'll train you. So guys, like and subscribe if you haven't done before, and don't forget to check out the other people's vlogs.